What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic and Everything Chicago Sports Related podcast. Excited to bring you some news tonight. First and foremost, Happy New Year's. I hope everybody has a safe and happy New Year. It's technically 12/31 as we're recording this, one of our final podcasts of 2023. I just wanted to take a second really quickly and say I appreciate everybody who's been a part of the journey over the last 3 years. It's been an absolute blast, man. And we made strides this year that, even myself, always believe in what you can do. But like sometimes you do some shit and you're like, man, that was cool. You know what I mean? Like the interviews with Q, working Big Three and doing everything we did, man, and going to the Iowa Cubs and covering Major League Baseball. I mean, we hit so many check marks off of what we want to do, and it wouldn't have been possible without you guys. So I first and foremost, I want to say how grateful I am for you guys. Also thankful for we're coming up on 15,000 followers. If you hit the TikTok right now, we're at 14.3, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely follow us at theshy.kid on TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see what's going on right now in Chicago sports. There's so much to talk about. There's so many different conversations that we can be having. And right now, according to Ian Rappaport, who literally wrote one column, and now everybody in the world is saying that Matt Eberflus is returning, but that's the narrative tonight. That's the conversations we're having tonight. Is Matt Eberflus returning as the Chicago Bears head coach in 2024? And it's a scary conversation. It really is. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. It's one of those things where you don't know how to feel, because Flus has obviously had such a shaky start as the Chicago Bears head coach, and we understand that. But the reality of the situation at the end of the day is Flus has had one hell of a turnaround. Ryan Poles goes out there. He says, not only am I going to get you Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Yannick Ngakoue, DeMarcus Walker and company, but I'm going to trade for Montez Sweat, who not only had 6 sacks leading the Washington Commanders, but now has 6 sacks with the Chicago Bears and leads the team in sacks. That's something to me that is not only notable, but very impressive from not only Ryan Poles, but Matt Eberflus, who took over play calling after the Allen Williams situation happened. Now you're starting to see a top 5 defense occur, the number 1 run stopping defense, a defense that you could look at and say, hey, man, this is a defense we can be proud of. This is a defense that I want a part of this organization moving forward. The only issue with that is where we're at right now as it pertains to Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears organization. My biggest fear is that Matt Eberflus stays and we have a Lovie Smith situation. A great defense for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm perfectly cool with that. That sounds perfect. That's Chicago Bears football, baby. But the issue is, who is this offense going to be? What is this offense going to be? Who's it going to be led by? And what quarterback is going to be here in the long haul? That's a huge problem to me. Another problem to me is, what is the revolving door of the offensive coordinators? We talk about this all the time. The revolving door of offensive coordinators for the Chicago Bears since Mike Ditka left the organization has been astronomically horrid, especially as it pertains to the level of offensive coordinators hired. We have so many first-time offensive coordinators over the last 10, 15 years in the Chicago Bears organization that it makes me sick. I believe only Adam Gase and Matt Nagy had actual offensive coordinating experience. Everybody else was a quarterback's coach, a college coach, whatever you want to call it, wide receivers, offensive line, et cetera, et cetera. The main issue to me is, do you trust the Chicago Bears to hire an offensive coordinator with Matt Eberflus as the head coach in 2024? Matt Nagy, say what you want about Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy kind of knew what he was doing in the beginning. I will say that. Everything else after that kind of occurred the way it did, and it is what it is. But here's something that I noticed that I think is very important to note. You look at the Jay Cutler era, however you feel about smoking Jay, it is what it is at the end of the day. Lack of leadership, lack of caring, empathy, whatever. The reality was this, though. In a span of 6 seasons, he had over 8 offensive coordinators. That is horrifying. How can you build upon a season when the next season you just have a new offensive coordinator, new playbook, new everything else? You just can't. It's not possible. Justin Fields going into year 4, presumably, if Luke Getsy is fired, will be on his 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years. Matt Nagy, Bill Lazor, Luke Getsy, and whoever is hired after. That's a problem. That's something I have to take into consideration when you say, do you want to keep Matt Eberflus? because the revolving door of offensive coordinators is always going to be an issue. Say you bring in an offensive coordinator, a Ben Johnson type guy who has a phenomenal year in 2024, and Justin Fields is an MVP caliber quarterback. Who's to say that offensive coordinator isn't going to leave the following year and become a head coach like Brian Dable did with the Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants? Who's to say he doesn't leave for a better opportunity like Eric Bieniemy? Who's to say he's not going to pull a Mike McDaniels? Those are all reasonable things to talk about. If you bring in, and on top of that, before we go into the next conversation, or he sucks, or he's awful, and you have to fire him in 2 years again anyways. Bring in another offensive coordinator. It's always going to be a revolving door if you do not have a long-term OC as the head coach. You look at guys like the Sean McVays of the world, the Mike McDaniels, the Kyle Shanahans, the Andy Reids. Those guys prevail. Why? Why do they have success? Because it's their system. Year in and year out, you can plug in different guys. You can replace AB with George Pickens or Deontay Johnson. At the end of the day, all these different guys are going to remain the same. That is one of the biggest problems for the Chicago Bears. Through the Lovie Smith era, through the Matt Nagy era, through the Mark Trestman era, it's always been an issue. The revolving door of different types of coordinators. The defense is great. That's awesome. You know what I mean? And you could talk about the talent that we've been playing. Maybe we're not playing the highest level of talent, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. And I'm seeing a lot from a team that has been so successful. I appreciate the follow. If you guys are new here, smack that follow button for me really quick. But with that being said, though, have the real conversation with yourselves. Like, you need to sit here at the end of the day and say, how are we going to get better? How are we going to continue to grow? When I coach kids in high school baseball, when I coach kids in high school in general, you want to build something every single year. If you have a new coach every year, one, these guys don't know these guys. You know what I mean? They don't know each other. Players don't know coaches. Coaches don't know players. You have to learn and build that chemistry. You can't build that chemistry. You can't learn anything if every single year you're starting off fresh, building a new relationship. It's like you break up with your girlfriend every year. You find a new one. You bring her to Christmas dinner. Everyone's got to learn each other's names all over again. It's not going to work. You can't build that. It's not sustainable. And that's the biggest problem. We talked about it a little earlier, having that conversation about, man, what is this team going to potentially be 3 to 4 years from now? I couldn't answer that because I don't even know who the OC is going to be 3 to 4 years from now. Is it going to be a Ben Johnson? Is it going to be someone else? I have no idea. It's a problem. That is a problem that this team is facing. Do you coach at Ignatius? No, I do not. No, I do not coach at Ignatius. That's crazy. I've played against Ignatius though. But yeah, no, and I think my boy Robbie actually coaches lacrosse at Ignatius right now. That was actually a really dope comment. It kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, with that being said though, man, I don't feel it. I'm not with it. I think there's a lot of different conversations about who you are and who you want to be. Right now, we are a team with a decent future. I think you look at the players on this team, the Jalen Johnsons, the Justin Fields, the DJ Moores, the Montez Sweats, and I was very promising. But you have to put together a core of guys who not only understand the game, but know what to do with these players and guys who are going to be here for 5 to 10 years. We need to build a culture. That's what it comes down to. I don't care about the locker room. I don't care about Flus giving guys individual nicknames. I care about what is the game plan. Where are we today and where are we tomorrow? That's where you need to be at. I mean, at the end of the day, you can move on from Justin Fields, bring in Caleb Williams, Drake May, whoever. I don't give a fuck, Shador Sanders. But who are we going to be as a unit? You have to think bigger than who is QB1. You have to think, what is the identity of this offense and how are we running it? That's one of the more important questions. That's something that I think we still haven't answered as a team, and we haven't answered that question in the last 15 years. Last time we made it to the Super Bowl, why did we lose the Super Bowl? A lot of questions on offense. Defense prevailed, going up against Peyton Manning. Can't even be mad. GBO, go Big Orange. But, at the end of the day, you have to sit up there and question, in 2023, are we really going to bring in another defensive coordinator to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears? Are we going to trust that? I love the monsters of the Midway. I love the 85 Bears. I love the Dick Buckuses of the world. The Doug Planks, the Doug Atkins, the Dan Hamptons, the Mike Singletaries. I love that shit. I love the game. Don't get it twisted. I grew up a safety, man. Defense is what I love. I love watching it. I love studying it. But man, as a team that's never truly had a hyper-drived offense, it's frustrating. It's truly frustrating. I don't see this as something that is going to change. I don't see this as a possibility of the organization fixing this problem moving forward. It's honestly it's super concerning. It's super concerning, and I don't know how to feel about it because there's so many questions on what direction they can go. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a history of hiring first-time offensive coordinators. Luke Getsy was a first-time offensive coordinator. He was the quarterback's coach. He held Aaron Rodgers' jockstrap in Green Bay. He got that job because of it. Other guys, the Mark Trestmans of the world. You know what I mean? You're giving guys first-time jobs. We need to bring in a dog. I saw a couple people in the comments talking about Eric Bieniemy. I wouldn't be mad at it. But is he going to butt heads with Flus? That's the question. Are that you're going to bring in a guy who wants to be a head coach? Can you trust that if you're Matt Eberflus? Do you even want to do that? You're already on thin ice. It's already a make it or break it year. I don't know. But that's a whole different conversation. But the facts remain the same at the end of the day that it's just questionable. It's just questionable. And it's risky. It's not 21st century 2023 NFL football. Like I mentioned earlier, the Sean McVays are going to continue to prevail. The Andy Reids, the Mike McDaniels, the Kyle Shanahans for a reason. Plug in whoever you want on defense. We'll figure that out as it comes to it. But we have the number one offense in the NFL, and that's going to get you a minimum of 8 wins a year. We're happy with 8. We're happy with 6. That's the problem. We need to change. We need to be better. And that's one of the biggest issues for the Chicago Bears right now is we don't know how to do that. You need to bring in football-minded individuals, but that's all I got for you guys tonight. I'm going to go hit the hay. Got an early day tomorrow, but we will be live tomorrow morning as well. If you haven't hit that follow button already, definitely smack it for us. It definitely does help us out a lot. Appreciate you guys for listening. Happy New Year. Pardon me. Be safe, be beautiful, be lovely, be kind to someone. 2024 is going to be amazing for everybody. I truly do believe that, and I appreciate you guys for being here on the entire journey. Until then, I'll check you guys out later. Peace. I love you.